presentation there, it's 5 minutes to time, or it's a competition, and I'm feeling anxious. So at that point, I can use that AI to do something, relaxation exercise, and I go there, I'm fine. So at that point, I know I don't need to go and have a consultation session with the doctor just for that. The AI can guide me directly. So the conversations that you have with that AI, we are encrypted. That's the first point, but also in the MHUAS Innovation Unit, which is the one among the entities that groomed me to be where I am right now, we are trying to develop a cloud server to be able to store all the data that is going to be obtained from the users and also from the clinicians using the platform to be able to ensure there's a lot of data security. But also hand in hand with that, we are working with the mental health experts from Wembley National Hospital who are also giving us insights on how to make that more and more secure and safe for all the users.
How about you?
Thank you. So at Total, it being a global company, so one strategy that has really helped us protect our data and our users' data has been using a centralized system. So all subsidiaries, or we call them affiliates, all IT teams use centralized systems in doing their operations. So all of our data, they just pass through our local servers, but they are all stored in a central server, which is located at head office. And through this process, we have implemented policies, security policies, which make sure that our data is secured when it's entering and even how it's used. Also, on how we interact with third parties, we have a separation whereby people who are using the company have their own email addresses and people who use other third parties have their own external email addresses. So it means during the system, it's able to identify, okay, when I'm dealing with the person who is within the company and who is outside the company, there are additional rules which are enforced when dealing with data from the people who are third party or external. So this really helps us to protect our data in our operations. Yes.
Lydon?
Okay. So maybe to start us off, definitely we are registered under Personal Data Protection Commission as data processors and data controllers. But then, to go back to your question in terms of how are we making sure that we're protecting, as a company, security penetration testing, having regular type of assessments such as those to ensure that our data, the data for our consumers are protected. But there's something I'd like to note. I think one of the lady, Doris, kind of spoke about in terms of where is the data hosted. Definitely there are partners that we work with whereby some of the solutions that we provide have to be locally hosted in Tanzania in our data centers. But then the reality of the matter, when you look at, the likes of AWS, Amazon Web Services, you have hosting that is clear, that is able to process lots of data and all of that. So that's one of the things that we find ourselves also getting to have some of our data or controlled or hosted in such cloud services as you said earlier. So those are some of the things, but we ensure that the data that we have for our users is protected based on the rules that we have as a country, but then also when you look at GDPR rules, just to ensure that the consumer is always protected and is put first. And just to take note, in recruitment, it's very funny, there's youth in here, there's this thing that people are sending, send me your number, send me whatever. So you look at it, sometimes you don't understand the scope of the power, the data that you're hosting, because these days, as you're talking about, somebody's phone number accesses a whole lot of things. Somebody's data, female, male, born, etc. These are all key data points that are meant to be protected. So we're doing all that we can to ensure that this is data that is properly.
Dr. Nice, one of the challenges that we have, or worries that there is to do with the digital divide that AI might bring about, especially for women, the marginalized, the disabled. In your profession, how do you see that coming up? And how do you think you can mitigate that as you utilize this new tool, technology?
So in healthcare, of course, because there is unequal digital penetration in our settings. So, for example, in what we are doing currently in my startup, we recognize that the digital literacy rate in Tanzania maybe is 35%, but the rest is still yet to be penetrated and reached out. So we have the part which I explained, which is for people who have digital devices, but also we are trying to process USSD codes and call centers for those who are unable to access the digital devices, those who have phones like my little one here, but also those who have phones like this one here. So we are trying to enable everyone to be able to access as much as possible, but hoping with the increasing efforts and the spreading of digital transformation, when we reach there, then almost everyone will be able to benefit from healthcare in general. But also the efforts to increase awareness on mental health. We are not just relying on our digital devices. So among our marketing efforts is doing on-ground in field work, workshops, seminars, to reach people and explain to them what really is mental health, what is the difference between the ideas that we have that mental health incidents are witchcraft and the reality, and how to use our platform as a portal to care, but also are trying to explain the reality that, like Dr. Nkundo explained, it is very hard to replace healthcare systems with AI because human touch is needed, sympathy is needed, empathy is needed. So we are trying to help create a portal towards healthcare because our AI is just going to channel you to someone who can help you and not replace the actual human being.
Joan, I'm curious in terms of, if Dr. Nice has talked about digital literacy. You are in the energy sector. One of the biggest challenges we have in the world is climate change and what the impact is. And then we go to carbon credits, which you just mentioned. I'm sort of curious to know, as you deal with third parties, do those third parties include, let's say, the farmers, the sawmill, tree growers, or plantations, or do you deal only with the energy sector in terms of fuel and the green energy that is there?
Okay, so when I spoke on third parties, I meant all of the suppliers, mostly our suppliers and the businesses that we work with, the business-to-business transactions that we do. So this includes industries, yes, mostly.
Lillian, let's talk about the challenges of what should the government do? Because we tend to see now that AI is being done in silos, everybody's doing silos and so forth. What do you think should be the next step that the government can do in terms of regulatory, bringing people together? We are pushing the wheel of development and having digital transformation. What is missing or what should be done?
Okay, so I think there's some things that are already in progress. One, from the space of protecting personal data information, the PDPC has been formed. In the space of just utilization, again, the fact that right now we're getting to a space whereby the digital ID number is coming into place, that can also help us, because one of the things that we had to start looking into is how do you, much as you're doing OTP, that it's your phone number, but we need to start going that of the 48,000, that you have clear data that is actually 48,000 real humans behind the scenes. Even if you can have an email address, etc., it will be good to get to a point where you're like, okay, actually this is real people that have this ID. There is, of course, an API with DIDA, but we'd go to the point of you're having access to a Jamii number that can go across. That will be something that will be awesome. But then now coming to the space of actual consumers and actually scaling the space, reskilling and upskilling is my forte. I think there's a call to action that Dr. Nkundo kind of like hinted towards the end, whereby we have to, a lot of skilling has to happen within this space. And I think from our curriculums, when we look at AI, the whole of digital job landscape changing, you have simple things as right now, we need to be able to have people who can prompt or ask the right question to a chat GPT, right? That's a skill set that you form over time. There's little things that needs to happen in terms of awareness, in terms of upskilling, and I think the government is in a space to be able to put together the right partners, the right consortiums to be able to scale. I think generally we are not yet there, but we are somewhere that is progressively looking at where we are from and where we are right now.
Joan and you, what do you think should be done?
So what I think should be done so that people can embrace AI more, yes. So I think most people are focusing on the risks or the downsides that comes with AI. But you should imagine AI is something that comes to make your life more easier, more efficient. Imagine being able to do something much faster and at a better speed and more accurate than how you do it usually. So my advice would be to take the necessary steps to upskill yourself, like Lilian said. I'm a huge fan of upskilling, and thankfully I've been on Nigeria since 2020, and I so agree with her that the only way that you can do this is through learning. And AI thrives because what it does differently from humans is that it learns. It constantly learns. So that is the same approach that we should take. Learn, and keep on learning to be able to know how to use and adapt these skills in our sectors. Thank you.
Dr. Nice, we need to learn more. But then what do we do to protect ourselves, and what should the government do,
So in terms of what should the governments do, I think I'm sitting here on behalf of all startups engaging in AI and telemedicine. We are solely asking for policies, government policies in terms of telemedicine. Yes, that is actually quite missing. The ones which are operating are just operating under letters from the ministry. So we need clear policy on telemedicine, and for that to happen, we also need to increase digital literacy in our societies. People don't know what is telemedicine. People do not have the access to the digital devices. So if we don't have digital devices, we are not digital literate, we cannot use telemedicine. But for us to be able to even contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals, I'm at home, I'm having my phone, I can have my consultation at home. I don't have to do carbon emission, I don't have to go on a bus to reach there. I can save my time, I can save my energy. So there's a lot that we can gain from telemedicine, but without the proper policies and proper regulations on how that's to be done, and the government pushing forward on telemedicine, we cannot get advantage from that. So solely that's what I'm asking for on behalf of all startups doing telemedicine platforms. Yeah.
Before I go to the audience, we've talked about AI. Anybody has dealt with robotics in terms of AI? Anyone?
Yes, I have. Well, I remember during school, because I studied at TAIC, computer engineering, so we have a TAIC design studio, which is meant for people to come and explore different ways on how you can combine technology and designs to solve problems and just be creative. So throughout that time, I was able to learn more about robotics and how I was curious on how to bring together hardware and software to be able to see something. So on a small scale, I was able to develop a robot that could sense another obstacle and then be able to divert it. So it was just starting at a small scale, but I was able to see how robotics can be used or leveraged to, let's say, in industries to optimize the processes or automate, let's say. Yes, so it was really nice.
And you?
So in terms of healthcare, I can really support the issue of robotics. Outside countries, people are doing surgeries by using robots. The doctor is just there instructing, and the robot does everything. And he's there to see that it is done accurately as it's supposed to be done. But then what comes again is the doctor trained to use that robot? I'm a doctor, yes, I know how the surgery is supposed to be done, but am I competent enough to instruct the robot the correct things so that it can do the surgery as it's supposed to be done? So back again to digital literacy, educate our doctors, bring the robots, and there we are.
Digital literacy, jamani, nafungua ukumbi kwenu. Una swali? Karibu. Sasa mimi nitembee na microphone, kuna mtu mwenye microphone. Ile pale, hapa, kuna swali hapa.
Asante sana. I've really enjoyed the discussion, and I have a comment.
Can you please state who you are, where you're from, and then hear us, please?
My name is Asha Abinala. I'm representing TAIC and Media Convergency.
Right.
So I enjoyed the conversation, and you have a comment. Your last comment, Dr. Nice, is the one which has prompted me to stand. So I want to give a disclaimer, yani angalizo. When we talk about regulating spaces, that's a very big challenge. There is a big conversation right now when it comes to policies and how to create them and whatnot. So looking at technology and emerging technology, artificial intelligence is just one component of emerging technologies. We don't know the next year, like maybe we don't even know what the next month would bring. And that is why one of the discussion has been to have innovative policies that will sort of cater in whatever changes that emerging technologies will bring, it will be catered in one way or another. So sometimes the challenge, when it comes to the space, the challenge, most of the challenges we are facing right now, especially in startups, are policies that are there. So it is not really advisable to seek for policies in innovative spaces. You want to thrive as much as you can before you are regulated. So I think whatever challenge you're facing right now doesn't have to do with regulation. Like calling the government to do some sort of regulation in the space, it is stifling innovation. A lot of technologies and startups are being challenged in developing because most of the policies and laws that were created, they never considered them. Now you calling for another policy to regulate you, it is sort of challenging. I would like to throw back three things to consider. When you talk about AI and policies, it's really good that the EU are looking at policies to make sure that data is used properly, it is processed properly. But with technologies like the one you talked about, telemedicine, I believe that you can proceed. So you look at how you can benefit. Use Dr. Nkundo here, the DG, how can you leverage from his presence and availability in listening for you to be able to go a step further? The police won't solve the challenge you're facing right now. I can almost guarantee. Identify the challenge you are facing and call for something substantial that will sort of take you a step further, not stifle what you've already acquired. Thank you. That was my observation.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
What if it's not a policy, it is a strategy? Will that suffice?
Oh, a strategy always works. And the ICT Commission is one of the strategies of this government to ensure that those who are in the space can leverage and grow from it. So as a strategy, it is very good. So maybe the call would be to make sure that ICT Commission identifies, in their strategy, identify the aspect of telemedicine instead of calling for a policy to come and regulate you. So thank you very much. An excellent question.
So that answers that. Yes, go ahead. What do you have to say to that?
So on top of that, I can agree with what she says. But one among the challenges that we are facing right now is when you are going to approach a practitioner to practice in your platform. He asks you, so I am going to practice in your platform. What if someone takes me to court and claims that I have done this and I have not done this? What law is there to protect me? Am I authorized to practice in your platform? How can the government be sure that I was practicing in your platform and it was legal and I did not do this? So they actually need something to see and be sure that I am actually doing this in the right way and it's legal, and when I'm sued in some way, I can protect myself. Because, you know, as much as healthcare is delicate, mental health is very delicate. You can have a person who has a manic episode and starts doing actual things which you're supposed to have defense against, but on doing that defense, that person can come and sue you. So as a doctor, they usually ask, how can I be sure that it is legal to be sure that I am protected? So in that way, I don't know how to put it, whether it's a strategy or a policy or laws, but we actually do need that to be able to recruit doctors into our platforms.
So you may need a framework and a strategy rather than a policy, I would want to assume. Do you have any comment?
No, I'm good.
No. So that's fine. Anybody else before I go to the board? Yes, madam. Hivi niulize, wewe mtu wa Simba wewe? Hapana.
Hapana, I just love red.
Okay, fine.
Thank you. So I would like to help her how to navigate the regulatory landscape.
Okay.
We have a product. It's an insurance digital platform, and we've partnered with a telemedicine company, and we face the same challenges. And for us, we decided to have a physical dispensary that we can onboard practitioners there. You can do the same. You can partner with one of healthcare providers, and you start from there. Whoever you want to onboard on your platform, they have to be registered as service providers of that healthcare facility. It has to be physical first for them to go online. And yes, it's true. There are several cases that they have to be covered. There's professional indemnity. If something happens, it's the institution that will cover that. And that goes into the insurance. So it's very important for you to start where you are with what you have as we're building up for other opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go there, let's tackle these questions here. Does the political issues, I think the question is, do political issues have impact in accelerating AI in Tanzania? Let's start with that. Do you have any comments with that? So, political issues, do they have impact in accelerating AI in Tanzania? Is AI encumbered by political issues? That's the question. What do you think?
I think my response will just be general. I think political issues anywhere, positive or negative, will impact the workings, the general economy. So not necessarily something to do with Tanzania, but political issues, if you have what is it? Kizungu kimenitoka. Ukiwepo na system ambayo iko pro AI, manake kwamba kutakopo kuna msukumo mkubwa zaidi kwenye kusogeza mambo kwenye upande wa AI. Ukiwepo na mfumo wa serikali ambayo iko critical kidogo na kuhusu na mambo ya AI, manake bahati mbaya kuna vitu ambavyo vitakopo stifle kwa aina moja ama nyingine, lakini hilo ni jambo ni kwamba kwa mfumo kama mfumo inaweza katokea.
Nafikiri huyu alisoma kitu nini Indian elections, they used AI to generate the late Mahatma Gandhi in one of the political campaigns. Labda sijui anafikiria hicho, sijui hata sielewi. And comments from you, anybody? No comments. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Najaribu kuelewa swali lake kwa sababu kama nataka kumuelewa anachotaka kusema, tukirudi nyuma in terms of kina Facebook na nani, zile challenges za kwamba how political elections can be influenced kwa sababu social media, vitu tunavyokutana navyo, kwa sababu again tukija kwenye uhalisia, what we all view sasa hivi tukiamua kuangalia simu zetu, kila mtu anapata different channel ya vitu kutokana na vitu ambavyo unavibonyeza. Hiyo ndio inakuja kwamba system yako. Lakini sasa ndio tunarudi kwamba system ziko wapi, na kuna cases, nimesahau ile jina kabisa, there's a famous case ambayo kwa inaendelea na Facebook kwamba kuna elections across the country, and this is more than 5-8 years ago, ambazo inasemekana kulikopo kuna influence kabisa kwamba strategy kwamba unataka chama X kipite, kwa unakuta watu wanapata agenda ama propaganda za chama X zaidi, au strategy unataka fulani wapite, kwa inafanya influencing ya citizenry kwa aina moja ama nyingine. So kama naelekea huko, yes definitely, ndio hivyo kwamba monitoring na kila kitu labda kwa huko.
Okay. To quickly go through this. Number 2, I think here's an example, silos working systems, which tumezungumzia. Number 1, tutaijibu baadaye kidogo. Number 2, imeshajibiwa tayari. What are the challenges? We've talked about that. Is AI feasible in our country, putting in mind that the government has a vast number of data which are confidential? If no, how are we as a nation going to cope with this wind? Confidentiality of data. In other words, anasema Tanzania swali lake, data is very, very confidential. Sasa lakini AI requires data. Can that data be opened up? How do you go about doing it? Kuna mtu mwenye jibu hapo? Me, I have ideas. Yes. You have an idea? Okay, sir. Nimesema this is the discussion jamani. So that let's have a discussion.
Tunafanya sana hizo, I'm very enthusiastic, na tunafanya sana hizo discussion na hizo conversation. Kwa hiyo swala la kwanza ambalo linatakiwa, unajua before the government has acted, institutions zenyewe within the government has to identify wana sensitive data. Kwa sababu kama government is a big thing, yani mpaka waamue iende kule chini na kwa kazi. So at the moment, respective ministries, authorities and centers that have sensitive data wanatakiwa kwa haraka sana wa internalize AI policies and guidelines. They want to make sure kwamba wale staff wanaelewa kwamba these are data mnazozifeed, hizi data mnazozifeed kwenye hizi generative AI kama ChatGPT zinachukuliwa, kwa hiyo it is sensitive. That is one. Secondly, serikali ki-identify, hizo respective ministries ki-identify kwamba tunatumia AI na tumeipitisha kwamba inaruhusiwa, na ni bora ipitishe kwa sababu isipopitisha watu watatumia kwa kificho, kwa hiyo inakuwa sensitive. So swala la pili ni kuhakikisha kwamba zile mamlaka zimetoa mafunzo kwa staff kwa sensibility, alafu pia zimesubscribe kwa taasisi. Zisubscribe kutokana na number of users ili watu wasitumie their own IDs kufanya content sensitive ya ndani, watumie IDs za serikali watakazo issue kwamba okay jamani tuna ChatGPT account, okay tumekubali tumehalalisha, lakini everybody should use this kuhakikisha kwa sababu ile unaweza uka-customize. Swala la tatu, tuna Data Protection Commission. Unajua Data Protection Commission tunaiongea kama buzzword. Mheshimiwa Rais alitoa kwamba December 2024 ndo mwisho wa kusajili kwamba wewe ni data collector ama ni data processor. I can guarantee, na ninaulizaga hili swala mara kwa mara, kwamba nyie mamlaka yenu mmekusanya cheti? Wanakuambia hapana. Lengo la lile cheti sio kwamba tu ulipie 200,000 ya kwamba upate cheti, hapana. Lengo ya ile commission inataka kuhakikisha kwamba umejua principles zote za data collection, kutunza, kuzihifadhi, namna utazigawa na hivyo. Kwa sasa naweza ngasema hayo matatu. Asante.
Asante. Kwa kuna swali yako? Wewe uko nyuma kwa na swali? Hamna. Tuje hapa mbele. Sawa.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Zephania Ruben. I wanted to touch base kwenye swali la kwanza lile la political impact. Nadhani Lilian alikuwa anajaribu kuongea kuhusu the Cambridge Analytica case ambayo ilitokea kwamba Facebook walifanya namna kwenye uchaguzi kipindi fulani. So inaweza ikatokea kwa sababu most of hizi social media currently are working on psychology and behavioral basis. Kwa hiyo regardless unajua au hujui, lakini kila content ambayo inapita kwenye macho yako inakuwa ina maana kwa nini imekuja pale. Kwa hiyo as human pia we change with time. Kwa unaweza kaona content leo ukaipotezea, kesho itakuja tena, kesho kutwa, then it changes you with time. So nikija kwenye swala la pili la data protection na confidentiality, ni kweli nimewahi kusikia mtu mmoja akiniambia kwamba kwenye kampuni yao, organization yao, ChatGPT inajua wafanyakazi wote wa ile ofisi. Kwa akija pale akisema iandike draft email either kwenda kwa CEO, inajua everyone in the company. Na nina ushuhuda mwingine kwamba kuna baadhi ya institutions, government sectors zinachukua initiative to train their staffs on what is what is possible to do with either his generative AI tools, na kitu gani unaweza kukifeed na kitu gani utakiwa kukifeed pale, kwa sababu kuna case ya Samsung ilitokea mwaka jana. Some of the information zililiki kwa sababu their employees were using ChatGPT, and then some of confidential information is zimeleak. So Madam Sandra, nadhani she's there. So I had a training with National Auditor Office on how they can protect their data, but also on the good practices when using these generative AI tools. So I think it can be very a long talk to discuss, but I'll end up here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next. Thank you for that contribution. Yani ni muhimu when you use ChatGPT kujua kwamba is it siloed or is it the open ChatGPT. Otherwise data zako zote zitakwenda into the internet. Karibu.
Asante. Naitwa Joseph Miala toka shirika la elimu Kibaha. Nadhani kitu kikubwa hapa ni swala la kuelimishana. Kwanza tunataja ChatGPT kama ndio model pekee yake ipo, wakati ziko models nyingi na kila siku zinatoka zingine. Kikubwa hapa ni elimu, na hizi models zinatengenezwa kwa elimu tu ya kawaida, hesabu na statistics kidogo, na ziko model ambazo unaweza ukazichukua ukazicustomize ukaziweka hata kwenye mashine zako ukazifundisha kwa data zako. Kwa hiyo mimi sidhani kama confidentiality ya hizi data zetu inaweza ikatuzuia sisi kuchukua hii fursa ya kutumia AI ili kuweza kuleta suluhisho katika jamii yetu. Asante.
Asante sana. Tuende upande ule kule. Kule ni una microphone huko endelea.
Asante. Kwa majina naitwa Nixon Dawson.
Hivi jamani sote tunaelewa Kiswahili hapa. Sije kwa tuna mzungu mkuu alafu ambaye haelewi Kiswahili.
My name is Nixon Dawson.
No, sikusema say it in English. Wewe endelea, tulikuwa nauliza tu swali. Endelea.
Okay. Naitwa Nixon Dawson. I'm a data search specialist for public and private institutions. Na nimependa the discussion. Thank you, Doctor, for moderating the great discussion. Nina maswali kama manne for all the panelists. Swali la kwanza linagusa niajiri. How do you see the gig economy and the role on your platform to build the gig economy in our space from Tanzania to East African country? Ukigusia Gen Z and Gen Alpha, this generation from 1995 to 2010. The second question regarding the role of impact investing in climate change, kwa madam hapo wa Total, kwa sababu we have, for example, in case of India, they have skills and preference. They don't go to climate change kwa sababu kuna carbon credit and stuff like that. They go kwa sababu kuna problems. For example, kwao steel industry imechafua sana mazingira. So they build solution as a service for steel industry. I met a startup called Central World. So kwetu sisi, tuna skill and preference regarding the climate change au mabadiliko tabia nchi. Kwa mfano tuna case ya mining operations ambao wanachafua mazingira. So how do you boost impact investing regarding those sectors? Swali langu la tatu, are we prepared to grasp carbon credits? And hii kwa sababu ina predictiwa kwamba mpaka 2030 ita reach $9 trillion. So kwetu sisi, do we in that space ya kupata elimu kwa communities kuweza kuingia kwenye carbon credits? Ya nne kwa Doctor, regarding the machine learning model for Swahili. For example, you say kwamba una solution ya inaitwa akili yangu. So this akili yangu, we think kwamba inaweza kapata symptoms ambazo ni kutoka kwa patients ambazo ni Swahili. So maybe kuna speech to transcription models that inaweza be built. So kutengeneza communities kwetu. Do you think kwamba unahitaji kutengenezewa communities? Na kama unahitaji kutengeneza communities, how does the ICTC help that to create communities? Hii ni kwa sababu pia kuna communities ambazo zipo lakini hazijapewa fursa ya kuweza kuonekana. Mfano TANZANIA haijulikani, lakini people are building stuff. We really need to engage on those communities and kupata some sort of IO kuonekana na kusaidia. Asante.
Okay.
Hi.
Gig economy.
Yeah, gig economy. Sawa. Asante sana kwa swali lako. So kama ni ajiri, definitely tunajua uhalisia ni kwamba sio kila mtu anaweza akaajiriwa. Kwa hiyo skills tunajaribisha kufundisha ama ku-expose watu kwenye system ni kuweza kujiajiri pia, which relates to the gig economy. As a platform, we look at ourselves as a bridge. Na in terms of next by Q1 hopefully 2025 kuna partners ambao tunaanza kufanya masterclass sessions za kuwepo virtual assistants kwa sababu sasa hivi kuna kazi nyingi watu wanafanya.
Lillian.
Yes.
I've been told our
Time.
artificial intelligence is not that advanced to translate Swahili to English. The people online who are listening in English.
Okay,
Kwa hiyo,
perfect.
so maybe there's an opportunity for a startup to make a translation.
Speech to transcription.
Yes, in AI.
Okay. Yes, thank you for your question. As I was saying, just to quickly respond to that one, as Nigeria, we are starting to look at connecting or bridging to gig economy platforms. Our job is literally to kind of like collect that pipeline and being able to expose them, but there is the importance of basic skilling. So we are about to partner with somebody who actually does these virtual assistants and being able to connect, but giving them a session or classes. These are basic things, but simple as time management, project management skills, so that by the time you're connecting them to a gig economy or a platform, they really can perform. So that is something that's in the works, and hopefully by Q1 or Q2 of 2025, that is something that will be live in the system. I'm going to touch on carbon credits, and the only reason why I'm touching on carbon credits is there's another program we run as Nigeria with Tanzania Institute of Bankers Association, and I found myself trying to do an analysis of professionals in the carbon credit. So there are a couple of banks who have actually started specific departments and people are being skilled in that space. But we have not yet reached at that level. But that is a space, at least I know from the skilling part, that banks in Tanzania are starting to really invest in the personnel so that we have some of those people that can actually trade in carbon, because right now we go outside because that is a skill set that we were learning normal banking products and not necessarily carbon credit. So we have had to get that on board. But that is, I just wanted to speak from the carbon credit professionals available in Tanzania. But I'll leave her to talk about the trading.
Okay, thank you for the questions. If I got your first question clear, you said on the investment strategies that we use, investment strategies as an energy company to combat climate change. So for Total Energies Marketing Tanzania Limited, we have two main strategies. One, by targeting our renewable energy projects. Like, for example, we recently launched an LPG. So this is to drive the use of clean cooking methods in line with what our government's doing right now to promote clean cooking solutions. And the second one, we support clean tech innovations. So recently we launched, we have every year, the Startup Challenge, whereby we call upon innovative ideas, and each year we have a different theme. And the theme for this year, I believe, was creating green energy solution to tackle climate change. So we had a number of ideas which were passed through stages, and eventually we were able to get the top 3 people who were awarded, I believe, almost 20 million shillings each to be able to run their ideas. So these are the 2 main strategies that we use. And for the case of carbon credits, so this is something that, in my perspective, is new, especially in, I can say, in our countries, yes. So what we started was to raise awareness to our employees first, as insights. So recently, in 27th September, we celebrated Sustainable Day. So this highlighted the personal as an individual contribution. What contribution can you have or are you already making in contributing to the climate change? So we discussed variable ways on how we could increase sustainability or saving our planet through combating climate change. So through this initiative, we were able to start. We were given tree seeds that we can plant at home, and then we share pictures on how we planted them. We went to do beach cleaning. We were able to plant trees in service stations, and like I said, implementing the solar project. So these are some of the initiatives that we're taking to combat that. Thank you.
Just to add before you speak, carbon credits in Tanzania has been going on for the past 6 to 7 or 8 years. SUA has got a department specifically for carbon credits. COP24 that was held last year and a half, with Tanzania sent a delegation that discussed carbon credits. In Iriga and in Arusha, there are people who are farmers who are being paid due to carbon credits. The issue is, to what extent have we integrated it with AI? I think that's what we need to look at. Yes, Dr.
Thank you for your questions. If I got your first question right, you were asking about Swahili incorporation into whatever we are building. So we are using both English and Swahili language models because, of course, we embrace home and we want to make an impact home. So you can choose language options, either Swahili or English. And with that, you can do either voice messaging or text. So when you do the voice, the AI will translate it into text and give you a response in text first, then the text is going to be read back by an AI voice model back to give you a voice. Yes, so we have both voice and text, both English and Swahili. And your second question was about communities, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure if I got you correctly what kind of communities you are referring to. Can you please rephrase?
Thank you, Doctor. My question regarding the communities, we really need to, as the fellow panelists said, that we really need to learn the behavior of these tech entrepreneurs, or I mean the specialists, if they want to involve maybe in health tech or what. So communities like, it involves much on hackathon, much on platform like Cargo. You have your profile, and you solve some sort of puzzle, like a challenge, and then the community can embrace that, and that challenge can go back to you. Maybe touch your points, you touch your solution. You can just take from the communities. It's just fragments of problems. You solve those fragment of problems, and then go to your production line for improving your solution.
So you mean hackathons that are community-driven and involved with the stakeholders, for them to look at and come up with solutions? Yes. Is that what you mean? I think that's what it means. Okay, so I can speak on that as a representative of an innovation hub, MUHAS Innovation Hub. So at MUHAS, we have an open form that you can fill. You propose a problem in healthcare that you see is existing in the society. Then we have a behavior of calling upon a hackathon. So students who have had experience with the patients, some of them are also patients, they come together and they hack on a certain problem. But also I think it's a very good take point of involving actual people who have the actual problem in solving the community problems. And in so doing, for example, in our initiative, what we did to come up with the solution structure and the features of the application, including the AI, was built on our personal experiences together with the experiences that we saw the patients are facing when we are doing our clinical rotations, pale Muhimbili psychiatry department. So we saw what the patients are facing, kitu gani kinamsumbua, why isn't he improving, and then kwa nini amechelewa kupata healthcare, why did I come to get healthcare late mpaka nimepata a very
fulminant episode. So with that is where we built our tech solutions. But I think we really have to go back to the community, form initiatives like that, and come up with with solutions which actually fit what the community needs.
Thank you. We're running out of time, so please let's be brief. If you ask a question, one question, and be brief, please. Madam.
Okay.
And then we go to the back there.
My name again is CPA Sandra Chogo, and my question again goes to Dr. Nice. We all have some mental health issues, and we don't go to hospital because of the mental health issues. So my question was, how did you train your artificial intelligence? Where did you get the data? Because I don't see data in the mental health issues. Thank you.
They normally say if you ask a question and then if you provide an answer to your own question, then you are, anyway, go ahead. If you don't.
Okay, so what we are using to train our AI is built from research. So we are collaborating with the psychiatry department at Muhimbili National Hospital to train our AI model. And at that point, we are trying to incorporate patients into research. So whilst they are coming for their appointments, we are having a running research to ask to incorporate that patient into our research. Then after that, we ask a few questions and maybe conduct an interview to be able to get the data to use to train our AI model for now, because there is no culture of recording sessions or culture of recording whatever is going on between a patient and the clinician, because it's confidential. So you have to ask for consent and then try to ask the patient some questions to be able to train our AI model. But also there are already proven evidence-based methods to help people in mental health, which are actually commonly used by psychologists to be able to help people get through their mental health challenges. Relaxation exercises, breathing exercises, the clinicians are just taught how to moderate and guide someone how to do that. So we are training our AI model to be able to guide you to do the same thing, guide you how to breathe to maybe calm down, how to breathe to relax, how to do journaling, how to write down things and help you improve your mental well-being and things of that kind. So what the AI does is just being a portal to care, helping you do initial stabilization before actually going to see a psychologist. And we are still training our AI model. It's still not yet deployed because we know that we have to be thorough before we actually deploy it. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, there in the back. Mama Akone, so that, okay, and then we'll come to you. While we're waiting for him to ask this question, there's a question on data science for universities. Yes, data science is being taught at most of the universities in the country. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Johannes, developer of our job AI from Outlink. And I will talk about three things about data, policy, and infrastructure. I see we have been more sensitive about data, but we don't talk about data. The data, is it clean? Clean means being complete and consistent and whatever. Because as we won't focus, if you are not focusing much on that, that means we'll end up having data that will train the model in a wrong way and have wrong answers. And another thing about policies, as you can see, we are probably adopting policies from other countries or wherever. But I think it's more important to consider on the aspect of are those policy friendly, or are they in our local context, will they fit? Because sometimes we can adopt a policy that's very complex, or it limits a lot. Of course, sometimes we can adapt from maybe a certain country that has already advanced, and in our local context, probably we will need maybe a certain policy that will enhance our initiatives, maybe developers or even our industries to grow. So one thing we could do, focus on that, is ensuring that data, we don't limit on using data on AI or wherever, but we have to focus on ensuring that the data is anonymized. Because if different maybe sectors anonymize their data, because AI doesn't need just actual data. Even data that is anonymized, because this data will be useful so for various initiatives that are engaging into coming up with these various technologies. So, and on the infrastructure, maybe one thing I should have to, I've had different people talking about we are developing AI, maybe we are developing in a certain kind of way, but we have to consider whatever we are taking, the means, are they scalable? Because we can start with maybe 1 GB data, it will end up being terabyte or whatever. So it will need a high performance system. Do we have in place? How are we going to end up, how are we going to work in that kind of environment whereby we have a huge amount of data? So that could be a question, that could be a comment, so that's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you. So next gentleman over there, please. So what you're saying is garbage in, garbage out. So we have to be careful about that. But the last point, HPC, how is your data structured? How are you modular? Are you going to grow with it? Do you have the computing power? Where have you started?
So yes, Niajiri database right now, we're scaling faster than we've ever done before. So to answer the question, yes, we are scalable in terms of where we're placing our data and being able to process data as fast at one point in time. That is something that we're able to do.
You are in France, so you're okay, right?
Yes, I'm okay.
How about you at MUHAS?
So as we are currently still developing our database and of course our cloud server at MUHAS Innovation Unit, we're also planning to bring about the machinery that we need at the Innovation Hub to be able to host a large amount of data. But also in so doing, we are also having, and in terms of scalability, other than how to handle the data, we can also explain scalability in terms of how to make money from it, in terms of digital economy. We are not just building initiatives to help the site without them being able to sustain themselves. So we have in place revenue models that are going to be able to enable the project to run itself, meanwhile bringing back to the community.
Thank you. The last question before we wind up. Microphone for the gentleman. So, as we are wind up with this one. Each one gets 1 minute to end. What is the impact of what you're doing to the social economic transformation of the country or for the region or for a group? What is it that you're doing as the outcome? So think about that as we go along. Yes.
Asante. Kwa majina naitwa Joseph Cleveland Nkata, natokea MMI. Mimi nataka ni comment kidogo.
Nitakuomba uzungumze kwa kimombo kidogo kwa sababu watu online, they don't speak Swahili. People who are online. We are broadcasting internationally, by the way.
Okay. My name is Joseph Cleveland Nkata. And I would like to comment on some things. First of all, I heard to what Managing Director said about balancing between innovation and security. Initially, every innovation and technology was initiated by the government through military. When we take a look about the United States, it was all about that. But currently, even private sectors, individual actors, they initiate various innovations and technologies. So according to that situation, how can we make sure as a nation be able to make sure we protect our nation? Because most of innovation right now is initiated by private people and private actors. Thank you. And the last one is about data. As Managing Director emphasized about AI, the food of AI is data. And I would like to add something over there. It's not about data as data, just like most of us, we think if you have data, we can benefit it with AI. It's about accuracy of the data, it's about the quantity of the data, it's about the quality of the data. Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much for that. So, as we wind up, Lillian, what's your final thought?
My final thought in terms of AI in bringing about socioeconomic change, I think this is something we need to embrace. My standpoint is, how do we together, both private, public, work together in making sure that our citizenry is upskilled, our citizenry is reskilled, so that we can actually make the most of
The
this.
role of women is very important.
Yes, and the role of women, and we're seeing an uprise in terms of the different women who are taking charge, women who are owning tech spaces, using AI in their solutions, but also behind the scenes. This is a product. She used to be part of a team of IPF who were working, and right now she's working for Total Energy. So we're starting to see different faces, which is a great thing. That as long as we make sure that our STEM, and again, it doesn't happen just at the top end, but making sure that from the primary schools and from a ministerial point in terms of our curriculum, making sure there is more women who are actually entering into STEM subjects, so that we have more products that can actually then design and for women in AI. Thank you.
Thank you. If you don't mind, I also have a comment on the using of data science as a subject or incorporating it in the curriculum. So my take here is, while the what is important, the how is even more important. So we can have modules with amazing names. However, the way that we teach these subjects is what really makes the difference. So I think we should focus more on how we teach these subjects. Better teaching methods bring out better knowledge transfer, which bring out better impact in our education system. And lastly, I would like to say that AI is a very useful tool, and change is the only thing that is constant. So what I encourage all of us to do here is to take on an active role to embrace AI and technologies in our sectors. By each and one of us starting to make that change, being an active participant, use it more, learn how you can use it to better your work, then eventually we'll create that ripple effect that can affect others to be able to incorporate it in their work and do so and so. So that is my take.
And your take?
Okay, best I can say, in addition to what all has been spoken by other speakers, is socioeconomic transformation is happening, and it's going to happen, and we can all testify that it's good for us. But I think the most important thing is to move together. You can't move as an individual. You can't move as a unit. We have to, if we want the GDP to grow as a country, it can't come from one person. It comes from a community. It comes from a group of people. So we have to make effort to make sure that at most group of people, we have to try to reach as many groups of people as possible to bring them into digital literacy, and then we can now embrace socioeconomic transformation into digitalization as a whole.
So let me go to the conclusion by answering the question that came up on the board by the online. The question of data science has been answered. I think I'm not a spokesman for the ministry, but I know that the ministry is about to conduct a survey on AI because of the silos that we have in the country, and also it's working on an AI framework or strategy that be used by the public and private sector. Having stated that, my wish, in terms of AI, is to see Mama Ntilie at the end of the day use AI to make more mandazis and create more wealth for herself. With that, ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for my panelists, and thank you so much for listening to us. Asanteni sana. Great.
Thank you so much, Dr. George Mulamula and the panelists. Thank you so much for your insight and expertise, which brought the depth to the conversation and sparked the meaningful discussion among the participants. A round of applause to the panelists. Please, the panelists, don't sit down. The East Africa television, they're waiting for you outside for an interview. They've been waiting for more than 1 hour. So if you can go outside to the photo booth, they're waiting for you. Thank you so much. Our next session is about inspirational talk, the title, Women as Leaders in the AI Era. Obviously, this session will focus on crucial role of women in leadership position, particularly in the context of cybersecurity. So I would like to welcome the moderator of this session, Madam Asha Abinala, so she can welcome the panelists for this session. Karibu sana, Madam. A round of applause to our moderator. Give the microphone.
Unaona Tumaini ulivyo mrefu. Good morning, everybody. Guys, you're so dull, jamani. Mmenuna sana. Habari za leo. Tumechangamka sasa, ya? So, yes, it's a pleasure, and Hannah. Naomba niwaite kati, while they're preparing the mic. Oh, they're there, yeah? Okay. I would like to welcome on the stage Ms. Doris Male. Karibu sana. The second person I would like to welcome is Fatma. Fatma, are you, yeah, oh, perfect. Fatma Songoro. The other person I would like to welcome is Hi. Oh, so technology has really shut me down. Yes, Dr. Ellen Maziko, I apologize for taking such a... Karibu sana. Asante. And also I'd like to introduce Papa Badria. Karibu sana. Badria Kololeni, karibu.
Thank you, Asha. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fadma Haruna Songoro. I'm a tech and cybersecurity lawyer, currently working at a law firm called Victory Attorneys and Consultants. I head the firm's technology, digital trade, and fintech department. So I think that's briefly about me.
Thank you. My name is Doris Marley. I'm a computer scientist. I design digital platforms. I'm a founder and CEO of iLink Limited with Mama Mia Soko, a marketplace, and Bima Quick, an insurance digital platform that is licensed by TIRA to offer insurance of all types to different platforms. Thank you.
And my name is Helen Maziko. I'm a senior lecturer at the University of Dar es Salaam. And I mainly deal with cybersecurity and AI.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Badria Yusuf Kololeni. I am a country manager from ISOL's Associate. We deal with cybersecurity, purely cyber.
Thank you very much. I really have a wonderful panel. And from the schedule or agenda, if you get to see, we're going to get an inspirational talk. And the beauty about inspirational talk is that we're going to learn from them, from what they do in their real life. You know, sometimes we hold these discussions and we tend to forget to bring the practical aspect to it so that each one of us is inspired in one way or another. So I love the fact that cybersecurity has been a very huge component in this forum right now, because that is one of the areas we tend to forget a lot. So the focus of all the presenters will be on cybersecurity and AI. So I will implore all the questions I'll be throwing around at them. They'll be touching on those components. They'll be touching on those aspects, how it is affecting, how it is applied in their work. And when we had the presentation from the Director General earlier, there was there were 3 components. And now, in today's panel, we are looking at component number 2, like how are they applying technology in their work, but in aspects of cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. I would like to start from Fatma. And Fatma, we would really like to hear and learn in a way that anybody sitting here across sectors can sort of grasp some things that they can sort of also apply or maybe learn and adapt in their own spaces. How, as an individual in your organization, how do you apply cybersecurity practically, not as an expert or professional in sharing, but as practically, how do you use it in your own organization? Cybersecurity first, then we'll follow up on the AI. Thank you.
Thank you, Asha. So I think I am a lawyer and I work at a law firm. So for us, one of the things when we look at cybersecurity, it's mostly on how we use the technology and how it's safe. So to ensure that whatever we are using, if we are using certain platform, if you're using it maybe to share data, our clients' data, because we hold a lot of confidential information. So that is why we consider cybersecurity importance. And then it also comes to cyber hygiene. So as individuals in the firm, you know, sometimes it might just be a phishing email that actually results into a cyber crisis into your organization. So we also build onto cyber hygiene, ensuring that everyone understands actually what it takes to be safe when using online platform or any ICT-based technology. So this is also something that we actually do. And the other thing is also to build our skills to actually understand how we are able to use the technology. So having the skills to understand the technology that you're using. So for instance, I hear a lot of people here referring to different generative AI, such as ChatGPT. Maybe you're using Copilot or it's Gemini AI, but do you know the actual implication? You know, if you're keeping certain kind of information, you might be exposing maybe your client, if you're working for clients or your customer data. Are you aware of this risk? Do you know maybe you need to scrap or like remove certain aspect of the data? So these are things that we all have to consider in our organization. And I think in our everyday role, we are probably using technology from our own phones, I think, to our computers, and in our daily interactions. So I think cybersecurity is quite important for individually and also for organizations to actually build the culture on cybersecurity.
Okay, thank you very much. And building on that to Doris, so one of the things we've learned, we've been privileged to work a lot with organizations in the spaces. And we have identified that there is a gap when it comes to adapting cybersecurity measures, especially at individual level. So some organizations identify that, yes, we have sensitive data, yes, we have to have mechanisms to protect that information, but for the staff, it's challenging. In your team, Doris, how does it work? First, I want to make sure that you confirm if at all you guys do practice cybersecurity measures, and if you do, how has it been with your team for them adapting or agreeing to the terms or measures? How we would sort of like to learn from that, and if there were challenges, how you tackled them.
Thank you so much. We do collect data from our members and users of our systems. And we have cybersecurity measures deployed in our systems. And to test that, we usually conduct ethical hacking. Sometimes we don't even know if they're being conducted because we have outsourced to another company to do ethical hacking on our systems from time to time. And our deal is if something goes wrong, and the system goes down, it will stay down for 1 week as a punishment to our team. So they usually say, Mama Mia, if it goes down, do not talk to us for a week. So we have to be able to use ethical hacking to test our systems. You know, cybersecurity is similar to having your own defense systems at home. Maybe it's immune system, or it's a fence, a security system around your house. Do you test your systems? Do you check to see if no one can come in? And I've had 2 different people coming to confess to us that we tried to hack your systems, we could not. Now we want to work with you because they are sure of the security. But at the same time, we do a lot of integrations with other systems. When we're integrating with the payment aggregator, the measures that we go through them to make sure that we are safely integrated with them is different from the way we integrate with the regulator. When we're integrating with, let's say, Tiramis from the Tanzania Insurance Regulatory Authority, it starts from the integrating with the data center. Where is your servers? Creating the tunnel, whitelisting the APIs is totally different from these other aggregators like bulk SMS integrations. So there are a lot of ways to implement cybersecurity, and it differs from one platform or one system to another, but also it differs with the regulations of the country. Whatever solution you are implementing, what policies are guiding it? What regulations are guiding that system? For instance, with insurance, we have to localize the data. So you're not allowed to put the data on cloud. It has to be here. And the tunnels have to be created there. But with the marketplace, it's not the same. So we deploy other means of cybersecurity. And our team is versatile. We are very much aware of how to react, how to behave, and we are, how do I say this? We took, how do I say this? Now the English word has gone away. We adapt so fast. We are agile. Yes, whatever comes in, we are not focused on the hows to implement it, but we are focused on the why we have to do it. As long as our why is very clear, the how can be implemented. Even if it's something we have to learn, it's new. We can even outsource another profession to come in and help us as long as we achieve our why. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Just a quick one I want to validate. You said that with insurance, the information is very sensitive and you don't use the iCloud, you localize. I just want to know, is that your internal initiative or that is a guidance maybe by authorities? Just a quick one. I want to learn.
It's mandatory.
It's mandatory by authorities.
By the authority,
oh, that's
yes.
Wonderful. I didn't know that. Asante sana. It shows, from your space and your work, Doris, it shows that you guys understand. So the beauty of starting to practice early, you might have been in the space for 3-4 years. Dr. Helen will have to explain to us. And the lecturer, it's a fit question. A person who's here right now, and this is something very new to them, or maybe, yes, they've heard about cybersecurity and whatnot, but they've never really integrated internally through organizations. What would be the right steps to start and integrate? Where would they start? Like practically, Kabisa, you've never had that, but it's a very important aspect right now with the growth of technologies. Can you give us the steps or things which people need, an organization or leader needs to follow to realize and get to where Doris is with our team?
Yes, thank you so much, Asha. And I just, please allow me to recognize that this comes at the right time because we are in the month of cybersecurity awareness globally. So this is really such an instrumental platform for us to build capacity and awareness. And so allow me to share this answer through an experience. So cybersecurity is what was ICT long time ago. It was considered as an expertise and you had to learn to go and do ICT. Right now, ICT is the oxygen and everybody has to use it. And so will is cybersecurity right now. And I am a lecturer, and from my experience, for example, I have 6 PhD students and 12 master students, and there's no cybersecurity student, female student. So I just wanted to put that outside there because it's a women in ICT. So I feel like we need to do more in that area. And when I come to the students that have also graduated, I don't have any student. I have 3 students in masters and 3 students in PhD, and they're working in cybersecurity and AI, but there's none that has graduated as a female. So even the males even my proportion of students who are doing cybersecurity in terms of other fields, they are very few. It's less than 20%. So we're talking about this, but the capacity building and the training has to happen from now, the answer that I will give from the general public, but mainly it has to happen as a country. We have to inspire and trigger passion for people to really be the front drivers of cybersecurity. The questions that were coming up were, how will I protect my data? How will I use these LLMs? What if I'm a naive user? What am I sensed some fear.
Please explain LLMs.
Large language models, sorry. I sensed so much fear in the room, and that made me sad a bit, because now that can be kind of a barrier for us to actually enjoy the benefits and the products of AI because of that. So for me, what I can say is, where you are sitting right now, as long as you're accessing any digital information, you have the ability to actually practice cybersecurity. You've all heard of account privacy settings, right? Yeah, so you can navigate to that. Whether there's an application, whether there is an AI tool, first of all, ask yourself, do they give me access to the account privacy settings? Can I be able to have control over that? Can I actually control that? But then also, you're sharing information online. You have the ability to avoid sharing sensitive information. There's some information you just can't share. If you're sharing information for a good cause, as she said, you can anonymize some of this. You can scrape off some of this. But as a country, it's time now to actually build our own local AI products or AI products for the case to help us in the cybersecurity sense. For example, people have been talking about ChatGPT, but there are so many open source large language models. The GPUs or the infrastructure that you need to actually build them, they are not that expensive, from $400 US to around, you can go up, shoot until 20,000, but 400 is not something that can limit us to build our own infrastructure, that we can pre-train already existing models and then fine-tune them with our data and keep them safe, localize them, and use them as a nation, as companies. And I think also the other important thing about us as a public is to make sure that we know, okay, I'm using Facebook. Does it comply with any legal issues? So I think that is something to do. So where can you start? You can start by actually looking into all the digital platforms, or how you actually are offering data and accessing data, how you're connecting online as an individual. But then also there's so much free materials online for free. You can be able to access it. At the University of Dar es Salaam, we do offer sometimes some short courses. People can be able to do, some are paid, but then, for example, another example, the Tanzania Communication Regulatory Authority, TCRA, every day they are posting throughout this Cybersecurity Month, they've dedicated it just for informing us. People are accessing Instagram. I believe, is there anybody who is not accessing Instagram here, or like maybe WhatsApp or Facebook? So we are all accessing this information. We should at least try to navigate to such platforms whereby they can open our eyes and inform us. For example, do you know about maybe maybe the recapture challenge. For example, in order to test if this is a bot that's answering to me or this is not a bot, have you maybe enabled multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication or 3, whereby if you send something, then you have to validate through your email, validate through your phone. So those things, those initiatives, they're at your palm. You can do that. And then I think that's how you can start, really, yeah.
Thank you. I think that's wonderfully put, and I'm really glad that you've reminded us of the Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And in this month, a lot of if you are online and you use digital platforms, there are thousands of organizations, or maybe I should say hundreds, maybe thousands, I'm exaggerating, but there are hundreds of organizations that are sort of providing media information literacy on the tips of cybersecurity. So one thing I would like to maybe to open up is, if you are on the platform and you are very active, no matter whether it's X, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or what, and you've not seen any content that is giving you tips on how to secure yourself, my friend, you're using the platforms very wrong. I'm wondering what you're following on your timeline. When Madeja was here, Lillian, she told us how everybody, when you go to my timeline, it's different content from your timeline. It doesn't matter that you're on the same page. So kabisa napenda kusisitiza tena, kama unatumia mitandao ya kijamii and hujakutana na taarifa yoyote inakusihi ujikinge vipi mitandaoni, you are not using the platform properly. Or the kind of content you're following is not so. Yani, you need to re-evaluate. I think that's a very important point. But the other aspect, when we discuss, a lot of people, people are referring to ChatGPT only as the only language, as the only LLM-based model. I think the reason ChatGPT is being discussed, and I think I need to raise that, is because a lot of people can relate and understand. There is a lot. Meta has their own platforms. Google have their own platforms. But I might mention Gemini right now, and a person won't understand. But if I mention ChatGPT, they will understand. So for the sake of conversation, I think people relate a lot to that. And yes, I thought maybe I point that on that, and I bring the next speaker on point and on spotlight. She has a lot of students, those who have graduated and those who are still learning. But there's no one who is interested in cybersecurity. And that is one of your areas, that is your area of focus. What do you think is done wrong? What do you think should be done to pull more women to be interested to maybe learn about cybersecurity? I just want that in brief, but in detail, I want you to give us now. How do you apply cybersecurity in your work, and what we can learn from what you do?
I would say simple. Cybersecurity is not as hectic as everybody thinks. Do you know, I don't know if everyone has encountered this, but I have, and you think of yourself. When you see a job description, or you are applying for a course, sometimes names can be intimidating. You find majority of guys are doing development, ladies are doing analyst. Now on cyber fields, nobody wants to do ethical hacking, nobody wants to do defensive. When I say defensive, I mean all the red teaming. And some are even scared of blue because they're being, when I say blue, I mean the team who now protects and makes sure no one can penetrate. Everybody wants to be purple. Everybody wants to be in the middle between an ethical hacker and whoever is protecting. But when you're actually on the field, you come to know it's not even that hard. All you need is try to be competent and try to learn. I would put an emphasis on awareness, like make sure you're aware what is going on and how you can elevate yourself. Giving an example, sometimes you just have to put yourself out there. This is all the ladies, including myself, including us here. Let's put ourselves up there. We are competent. Look at the seats in front. What do you see? We did not put ourselves in front. And if we're not going to keep ourselves in front, nobody is, despite the awareness, despite all the facility we have. Doctors just mentioned, you have a smartphone. You can literally get all the information there. So with cybersecurity, it's not as complicated as we think. It is complicated, but it's not as complicated as it is. It's just like any other job or any other career. Anyone can do it. So I'd say that.
Thank you. Very nicely put. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I do understand. Maybe a follow-up question. Kidogo tu hapo. Yes, it's not as complicated as that. So a person who wants to start here, because there are many resources online. Fatma did mention a lot of resources online. Doris did mention as well. Oh, Dr. Ellen did mention as well. So where does one start? The person in the audience, just like a tip, like if you want to start today, do this as the first step. What do they do?
So right now, there are, okay, if you're done with your, let's say, bachelor's, you could do certifications. Okay. There is something called CPT, Certified Pen Testers, and there is PENT. There is CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker. But mind you, they depend on what you took, probably on your degree, or on whatever experience you had on now ICT aspects. It can be a little bit difficult when you just start from scratch. You're not from ICT background. But now we have a privilege. UDOM has cybersecurity degree. Yes. Same goes with IAA. I'm not so sure of UDISM. You'll correct me.
UDISM is rolling out a master's in cybersecurity.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So now we have a privilege of having masters. But still, if you check on statistics, UDOM people would correct me. Last year, only one lady graduated for cybersecurity degree. This year, it's only 11 out of 39. So yes, it's something, but we need to pull ourselves.
Okay, thank you very much. So we've created a base of cybersecurity, and yes, I understand we might not provide all the answers, but we are enticing you to go a step further. I would like to know now how has the emergence of artificial intelligence? People say, oh, artificial intelligence has been there. So I'm interested more in generative AI. How has generative AI or how will generative AI influence cybersecurity? I would like a perspective from each one of you briefly, if you don't mind. We start with Fatma. Karibu.
So I think generative AI is going to have impact in cybersecurity, although I feel like it might be both ways. So I think, one, it's going to assist. I feel like it's also a way which people can learn more about cybersecurity. So there's that people are going to learn more. And I think as people are also building on into these systems and platform, they're also considering more cybersecurity and trying to improve the standards that are required for cybersecurity. So I think that's generally going to improve like the whole ecosystem. And then I also think that as we're all aware that technology is advancing, so similarly, there are going to be more ways that cybersecurity has to come up with to ensure this system or platform are actually safe. So I think briefly that's how I see how generative AI would actually have an impact. I mean, generative AI would have an impact in cybersecurity.
Doris, to you, are you considering or are you already using AI in your work, especially in the aspect of cybersecurity?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
If you could kindly explain it to us.
All right. So we did some research. Technology is advancing. We didn't jump right into it when it first started. We waited for some time. The feature that we have deployed in our platform was not there at the beginning. It's something that has been added to a chatbot that we have deployed in our systems. When you go to our website, you can chat with, we call it Mamma Mia AI. You chat with our intelligence system that we feed the information we want it to say. So it's not getting information from outside what we have fed it. And anything you ask beyond the information we've given it, it will tell you, call the office. I'm only limited to this kind of information. So in a way, we didn't want our information out there to just any other generative AI platform. We wanted it in a silo, contained in our platform. And in that way, we are very specific with the answers that you will get, because they address our issues. And the best way that has happened for us is that I don't speak French. So whoever wants to know about what I know, I direct them to the system. So they interact with them directly. It doesn't have to come from us. So we don't have to give our information to a lot of people. They all have to find it in one platform, and it's secure that way. Yes, that's for us. It has been wonderful because it can respond to any national language, and it gives us a space to scale up more into Anglophone countries and other countries that speak Arabic that we cannot speak. Thank you.
Congratulations. I think that's very huge. Hongera sana. Dr. Ellen, what do you think? How do you see AI revolutionizing cybersecurity in the space?
Yes, thank you so much. And just confess, that's an area I've been working in my research for the past 3 years. I just finished an early career grant from the Data Science Africa, AI for Development. And specifically what I wished to explore was, it was past COVID. And I wanted to see how advanced persistent threats, or these threats that come from autonomous agents, these are AI, generative AI stuff. So how are they threatening the workforces, the distributed workforces? You're working in a coffee shop, next time you're going to an office, you're using your pad, your kid using it, then you're using it for Zoom, then all that. So how does it position us in the safety and environment? And what I can say is thankfully, we worked with an actual stakeholder. That's a good thing. And we're able to obtain data. And right now, we are finalizing on the tool that we can offer to them that they can use. At the beginning, it was challenging. We had to use open source data, and then online data. And then after that, I think they got interested, and now they provided us, and we're able to test it on actual local data, and it's performing very well. It can actually tell you, it can forecast the next phase where, in cybersecurity or maybe in attacks, sometimes, these attackers move in form we call lateral movement. When they start from, maybe they are gaining access. First of all, they're learning about you, then they learn about, then they gain access, then they start to move around the different nodes or networks and all that, until then maybe and they do that in a very quiet way. You can't even notice them. They'll be there 3 months, and you think they are not there, but they are there. So for us, we wanted to know, first of all, can I be able to say you're just, right now you are at benign, or right now you're at phase 2. Right now you've already gained access. Right now, something like that. And we're able to get that based on the data we have. So what does that answer, according to the question that you're asking, is that generative AI or AI it's a double-edged sword in cybersecurity. It's giving us a platform for so much data. At the beginning, we were just using IP addresses, ping data, latency. Now we can use sensor data. We can even use people behavior data. We can put it into our models. We can be able to do this. So there's a lot of information. But then the attack surfaces are so many. We just recently observed about the pages that were used to actually, attack some people. Who knew that maybe walkie-talkies can actually be harmful to you? So from fridges, maybe you're just using a fridge, you feel like it's innocent. Maybe that will be your attack surface. That's what will come will be the door that they'll get into you. So that is the other part of the sword. It's the attack surfaces are so many. So now there's a student of mine who we are doing threat modeling. That's an area of research we do. So in terms of like, can we bring in all these agents? Can we bring in all these key players, whether people, devices, information, anything? Can we model and can we do threat modeling to identify how safe we are, how vulnerable are we? So I think that's something that we do. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. For those who follow trends on technology, how many of us have seen Elon's robot, Optimus? How many have seen that on social media? The robots. Swali langu linaeleweka? Are we following trends in technology? Have we seen that Elon Musk, has produced a new technology like 2-3 days ago? It's just 2 days ago. It's known as Optimus robots. I implore you, you all have smartphones. I'll come and ask again, please Google. While you're listening, don't be distracted, but please Google Optimus technology, or you can just Google Elon's robot, it will bring it to you. So yes, I just wanted to draw that as an example. Should we be excited or should we be scared about AI and our cybersecurity status? Badre, Karibu.
Yes and no. So with the emerging of AI, and now we are using robotics, we're giving a lot of access to them, and we don't know what would be the factor for the intrusion of our safe space. So that's the scary part. The yes now goes to, we use the AI to actually protect ourselves. So we have solutions that cut across the whole 360 of cybersecurity on the likes of database. Who has access? Who's the database admin? Who has a certain privilege? So sometimes we'd say, okay, we have everything localized. We have everything centralized. So we're protected. No, you're not protected, because there are people who have this access. And they use different platforms, and this platform can actually be an issue and put us in a threat. So we have AI tools that will detect whenever the data is used not on the environment that is allowed to. We also have tools that you could create policies, and it will give privilege access to the right privilege users. Now that does not just limit to only IT admins, goes to the board members. Whatever information they have goes to the HR, whatever sensitive information they have. So they are AI solutions that would protect you and also detect and also mitigate. Like it will stop someone from not just a person, goes even to now robots and whatever device that is being used. So yeah.
Thank you. I think you've responded brilliantly. I'll have one final question to the panel, but I would like to open to the floor. And my final question will be responded later on after the questions from the floor. Anybody who wants to comment and ask, so there is a hand there. I want for us to make sure that by the time we're done with this panel, we also contribute to the 2050 vision. We've all heard that there is a 2050 vision. As women who are sitting here representing a small fraction of women in the technology space, whether cybersecurity, whether AI, what do you envision? How does 2050 look for you? So I want everybody to think about that and at least give us maybe a minimum of 2, a maximum of 3 things we think that will be very valuable when it is included, if and when it is included to the 2050 vision that is being developed by our nation. So karibuni sana. Niliona swali kule nyuma kabisa. There is a brother there. Guys, have we Googled the new robot in town? Karibu sana.
Thank you. My name is Reina Joseph Mwasho. I am from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania Ports Authority. Mimi naomba niulize kwa Kiswahili. Mada zetu za leo ni nzuri sana, tangia kwanza mpaka saa hizi, lakini naomba niulize kwa nini tutumie Kiswahili tu, ili tukitoka hapa Watanzania walio wengi waweze kuelewa. Kwa mfano, Dr. aliyetoka nani Mula alikuwa anachanganya Kiswahili na Kiingereza, ni sawa kabisa, lakini kiangalia vyetu ndio ndani wengi sisi ni Watanzania. Na tunataka tunayojifunza hapa tukawaeleweshe wakina mama wa kivule kule ninakoishi. Badala ya kusema cyber security tuseme usalama mtandao. Artificial intelligence tuseme akili mnemba. Ili kusudi tuelewe wengi na tutapotoka hapa tupate urahisi wa kuwafundisha kina mama wa kule ambao ndio tunaowalenga zaidi. Ombi langu kwenu watayarishaji na au mnatufundisha, next time tutumie zaidi Kiswahili ili kusudi tuwe na uelewa wa rahisi na kwenda kuwafundisha wengine. Niombe samahani kama nimekosea.
Asante sana kaka, kwa kweli hujakosea na ni wazo zuri. Asante sana. Wakati tunaanza, session ya kwanza imeanzwa ile ya Dr. Mulamula, walitoa mwongozo hapa kwamba kuna watu ambao wako nje ya nchi wanafuatilia mjadala, na bahati mbaya tukiongea kwa Kiswahili teknolojia haijaweza transcript kubadilisha lugha ili wanaotusikiliza wengine waelewe. Nafikiri hili litajibiwa vizuri na wahusika watayarishaji, lakini hata mimi naliunga mkono kwa kuomba kwamba next time kuhakikisha kwamba lugha zote mbili zitatumika. Asante sana. Naamini kwamba kutokana na mwongozo wa awali tutaendelea mjadala kwa Kiingereza, sio kwa sababu wazo lako halifai, ila kwa sababu bahati mbaya ilikuwa ndio mwongozo umewekwa awali kwa sababu za msingi. Asante sana, na samahani kwa wale wote ambao wanakuwa wanapelea kutokuelewa kwa sababu lugha haikuwa rafiki. Naomba mimi kwa sababu ndio naendesha panel hii, kwa hiyo ndio kiongozi kwa sasa kwenye hii panel, ninaomba msamaha kwa wa dhati, lakini haikuwa kwa makusudi. Asante, na bahati nzuri hiki tulichokiongea it doesn't really concern the English speakers, kwa hiyo hata kama wamepitwa halijawa baya. Naombeni tukaribishe maswali. Karibuni sana jamani. Karibu. Kuna mkono pale. Nyanyuka kidogo akuone tafadhali. Asante.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay, my name is Esther Kulimba, a student from University of Dar es Salaam, pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering and IT. Actually, I don't have any question, but I would like to add something on top of the speakers that for me, I picture cybersecurity as a basic knowledge for everyone, regardless you are in a profession of cybersecurity. Why? As we see that we are in a digital era, that we are moving in the digital era, that everything is going to be digitalized. There is no any escape for a person to escape to use the system. So if a person is using the system and he or she is not aware about the cyber techniques for attackers, so for him or her it's very easier to be vulnerable in the system. So I encourage the country to picture that this cybersecurity could be taken as a basic knowledge for everyone in Tanzania. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kuna mkono hapa kwa chama. Asante na karibu sana.
Well, thank you for a nice discussion. I didn't hear from the panel a general concern that I have been going throughout my life in this country. I am using this mobile phone, and I am not secure. I receive messages, Iwela tuma hapa. And then I ask myself, if there is a TCRA person here, what does the community or the organizations that we have in this country, what is their role in protecting us? Because I cannot understand why should a criminal be able to use our mobile phone infrastructure, call me, and even tell me this funny story about kuna ajira hapa, unajua, ukiweza, until I tell him, well, my guy, you sound like a cyber criminal. And these people are just marounding around. Nobody cares about it. I would like to hear your views concerning that particular breach. Thank you.
I'm so happy mmepiga makofi, kumbe mnasikiliza. I thought mmelala ni kwa kimya. An excellent question. Kuna swali lingine. Tafadhali Fatma, as mtu sana wa swala la data protection, if you could identify that, and anybody who would like to add to it, karibu.
Thank you, Asha. So kumjibu swali lake,
it's in English, huh? Yeah.
Okay, so I think the question that you're asking is more on data protection and privacy. Now, the good thing is that now we actually have a law on personal data protection in Tanzania, but I think the TCRA actually also have a system of reporting if you receive such messages, and that is one way of actually dealing. When you report, they take certain actions. But I think when you speak about people building, maybe people who are in the cybersecurity, if they can design program or platform in a manner that can cap that, then I think maybe I'll ask the other speakers to actually contribute on how, from a cybersecurity perspective, they can build maybe technology or platform to prevent that from happening.
Yes, I'm glad that you're going to add. Unajua, we are creating a lot of solutions. I would like to give you a question. That was an excellent question. We want to provide solutions for everything, and we forget about the already made infrastructure. Because if we want to create a solution for that, why in your response, we are talking about TCRA, which is the government authority, why are we not holding accountable the mobile companies? You've not mentioned them. How do we hold them accountable?
So I think I've had a conversation with someone working in a mobile network, and they actually told me from a regulatory perspective, there are certain things they're prohibited from doing. Okay. So when someone is a cyber criminal and you're a corporate entity, you can't deal with that. That's an area where you're prohibited from a legal perspective with interfering. Okay. So even if someone is bombarding someone with certain messages, all they will tell you is go to TCRA, report the matter, and TCRA will probably tell you if it's from an enforcement or prosecution, it has to be the law enforcement. So I guess that's how it works, and I think they do try, actually. There are certain initiatives that are actually done by mobile company, maybe to flag or prohibit. So I think I've had someone from, I'm not so sure if it was Vodacom, but they said they actually blocked the numbers, all those numbers that were seen to send maybe in a day very many messages. So sometimes you'll find, I think, some of these criminals maybe send 300 messages a day, and I think they're asking themselves, why is someone sending 300 messages to different people? This person is probably doing something that's not right. So there are certain initiatives that are taken, but these initiatives have to be substantiated by the regulator and the whole ecosystem supporting or working on the initiative together.
I'm changing the question a bit. She has said that sometimes they do that, and if you send 300 messages, what of the people who don't have internet access? And they're sending messages kikao cha mjumbe in a village. So maybe if you could add what you wanted to say and also address that one. Not to Fatma, you, Dr. Elenia, Karibu, and I believe you also want to add something, yeah? Yeah.
I do believe that we are not where we are but we are not where we were. Because right now what you're experiencing now, most of the attacks currently as I speak are over WhatsApp.
Okay.
We used to have these attacks on our feature phones, on our mobile network operators channels. But there's a lot of efforts that they've tried to put. For example, I don't know if you guys have heard that you can read, they say that if you don't see a number starting 100, it's not us, then don't respond to it. They use radio, they use TV, they use social medias. They are trying to do that. But at the same time, there's capacity building and training happening in terms of like mafundi wa simu and all that. But I was thinking while Professor Msela was talking, and I was thinking, I was in the US for over 7-8 years, and these things were there, you know, conning and all that through Sims, all this. As long as we're in this digital age, I'm not saying kwamba we need to normalize this, but I'm saying that we need to, as he's saying, we need to report, and then the measure, we need to follow through if the measures are being done. That last month, Tanzania ranked number 3 in the Global Cybersecurity Index from ITU. We are in the role modeling tier. And what does this mean? This means that we were assessed in terms of a technical capacity, in terms of, technical operations, capacity building, and all this. There were like 5 metrics that were used. I think we are doing something in terms of the legal. We scored 20 out of 20 in our legal area. So what I'm trying to say is we need to work together, because if you go to a bank, kuna numbers zinakuwa zimewekwa pale. Who is next? Who is next? You put your number there. Then who is next? You're just offering those numbers. Maybe it's not even about the MNOs now. It's just about where are you just giving up your number? Where are you just sharing your information? There's a question that Asha asked at the beginning. I thought we didn't do justice to it when she said, where should we start? For me, I think it's a matter of what is our objective? Do we really want to be technical experts, gurus, or are we trying not to be the weakest links? When you're sitting there, the best you can do into this effort is not to be the weakest link. In terms of your data, your phone, what are you accessing? Are you controlling? Because your behavior through the AIs and the recommender systems. Somebody the other day told me, I think sometimes when you speak, the AIs capture that, because sometimes you can just talk about something and then you sit in your feed. So there's a lot of recommendations and behavior modeling of this. So we need to be versatile, we need to be vigilant as citizens, and that is the way we can help. But to just answer that the nation, or like as a nation, we are taking initiatives, yeah.
Okay, asante sana. Badri?
So with me, I would answer this way: who's accountable? Is it TCRA? Is it an individual? Is it a telco or a bank? I think everyone is accountable. TCRA as a regulator needs to work on it in some ways, and we know there is initiatives, there's some things that have been done. There are some awareness. Individually, we don't want to be, as Doctor said, we don't want to be the weakest link. Let's learn how can we protect ourselves. In teleco, I put an emphasis on teleco and blame to them. When you mentioned, I was excited about it. Let's see how this thing happens. Someone wants to take your money. Atakwambia, tuma hela kwenye hii namba, jina litatokea fulani. Before that, atakutumia hela saying that accidentally nimekosea, nimekutumia wewe. Okay, I'm sorry I'm using Swahili, but I'm quoting. After that, if you check, yes, there was an amount that was there in your phone, but not from that specific teleco. And then there's a call, someone will pressure you to pay. And once you're done, that person cannot be traced. And the name, you find the guy you were talking to, his name is Yuma so-and-so, but the number that was used is Juma so-and-so. The person who was talking to you was a lady. And when you report it, it's long gone. You go to TCRA, they will tell you, okay, when did you send it? How did it happen? Was it number mia? No. Yeah. So in the end of the day, you cannot trust the person because they have not registered via that name. So we still emphasize and put a blame on Teleco, how they register. Right now, you find people, nasajili line ya university whatsoever, bure. That's how they get their clients. But how they register, I could say, I forgot my card. If I forgot my card and I'm using my fingerprint, or I might not use my fingerprint, sometimes I would use my phone and say, naitwa so and so, I get my card. There was a time I actually created a card without using my details. I hope I'm not going to be incriminated out of it, but I said, okay, it was part of my research.
Yeah.
And if I was able to actually create that, and then use that card, and then scratch it, and probably that time I was in Sumbawanga, but I live in Dar. That's how criminal works. Yeah. So in the end of the day, it's the Teleco. How do we make sure these people who are doing registration, they are doing it correctly? So it's like all over the place.
Thank you very much. I think that was very well explained. Yes, any other questions?
Asha,
we have like
Sorry, 50... Asha, if I may add to that.
Okay.
As we are innovating and learning, so are the criminals. Whatever we solve, they'll come up with something else. So I think we have to be vigilant. And mental health comes into the issue here. People are desperate. You get a link saying you'll get money, this and that, vicious links. You quickly jump to it and click on it. They hack your number just like that. So it's a deep-rooted problem more than just a technical problem or a regulatory problem. Whoever is addressing the mental health issues also have to come into play. You have to be aware of what you're doing. The actions that you're taking, be aware of what you're doing so that you can protect yourself.
Asante sana. We have 15 minutes to wind this session up. I'm so glad that there are more questions here. If mnajua mnafanya hivi, sioni vizuri, perfect. Kwa hiyo 1 yuko hapo, 2, 3, 4 hapo. Okay, yeah, perfect.
Start?
Karibu. Yes, please start.
Thank you for giving me opportunity to speak and to ask questions. Good afternoon. My name is Mwanaidi Mahiza. I work with the National Bureau of Statistics. My question goes to Fatma. I would like to get your experience since you deal with the cybersecurity laws and all that. How effective is our cybersecurity law and other existing regulatory frameworks? Actually, with dealing with the defamation that occurred online, when the perpetrator is anonymous or is outside the country, and what are the challenges that in enforcing this law, the cybersecurity law, when it comes to Facebooks, WhatsApp groups, and all that? From your experience, have you encountered? I need to get your experience in dealing with this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No. One more question to Dr. Helen.
Please make it quick.
Yes. You spoke about having few students in cybersecurity and AI. Is there any efforts that are in place to make sure this information, maybe the channels that are used to disseminate information regarding cybersecurity causes that you are using is not reaching the wider audience? What are the plans that you have to make sure you get youth, you get more women to to those programs?
Thank you.
I have not finished, please.
Okay.
As one speaker said in the morning session, let's not start with the product. What are the benefits people are being told? It's not that go and take training on the cybersecurity or AI. What are the benefits? You know, once you start with the benefit, that motivates people to join the program. But if you say join cybersecurity, you know, the term itself is very complex. So what are the plans and the strategies in place to make sure that people are enrolling into your programs? Thank you.
Asante sana. So I've been texted that I have a few minutes. I am sincerely imploring, please ask a question so that we make sure that they respond comprehensively, and we have a 2050 vision question as well. So karibuni sana.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Jacqueline, and I'm the head of TAIC Incubator and Accelerator Program from the Launchpad Tanzania. So mine is not a question, it's actually a suggestion. We've talked a lot about challenges, and we're trying to come up with something as a solution. So I believe in the power of partnership and collaborations. And among ourselves, there are several CSOs at the moment who are doing actually a ground root works with, who are working directly with the society. So I think if we could collaborate, and at the moment at the Launchpad, we're establishing the Tanzania Women in Technology Association, which I believe that every woman who is into ICT and technology can benefit from the discussion, networking, and sharing of opportunities. And also, so as to take our solutions and our suggestions to the government, I think if we come up into one umbrella as one, we could deliver our request more formally. So one of the speakers said something about using Swahili so as to reach more audience or targeted victims, perhaps. So I think that's very good. And we, as CSOs and representative of societies and people who work directly with them, we could use our programs to reach out to them directly. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So you've mentioned an association for women to join you. How do they connect you? So they follow you, yeah? Nyosha mkono, everybody to see. Yeah,
it's the Launchpad Tanzania.
Yes, karibu sana. The next speaker, please.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. I'm Engineer Clarence. I work with the Tanzania Post, advising on the project management best practice. And mine is not a question, it's just to comment, to add more on what they responded to Professor, chairman of the ICT Commission regarding on unsolicited messages. What I just wanted to add is that we are in the digital space. We are not supposed to forget on where we are coming from. Because currently, we have to protect ourselves rather than blaming TCRA, the telecos, and ourselves. And if we are at home, we are building with the gates, I mean the iron gates and whatever. We have to protect ourselves. How can you receive that message without confirming someone who is requesting that money for you, and then you act up? Immediately send that money. So the key issue here is awareness. We need to create awareness to everyone in the society that you don't need to respond to any message that you don't understand who is requesting that money. So the awareness issue, I think, through all those who are responsible and ourselves, we have to be aware and facilitate for those who are not aware about those unsolicited messages, that we don't need to respond to any message that you don't know who is asking for that money. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A mic over here, please.
I'm going to be a bit controversial here. Mimi nimekuwepo wakati wa mambo ya Samunge. The entire country went there. Imekuja mambo ya kukanyaga mafuta. Watu wanakanyaga mafuta wapate hela. Awareness iko wapi? Tukubaliane jamani. Na bado vitakuja vingine. It is true. Mimi nilichokuwa na, what I was expecting here, Madam Chair, is that we shouldn't behave so much elitistic. I am aware. But is everybody aware? What are the circumstances which make someone to send money to someone? Those vary. And these criminals, they know somehow they are going to get a weak point. What I was expecting here is that we should have a hot debate that TCRA should be held liable. One. Again, the technicians and technologists. I was expecting an artificial intelligence app in my telephone, which when a toxic message comes, then that particular app could tell me, watch out. Before you respond to this, you are now communicating with a possible cyber criminal. Such as things. Because we seem to be isolating ourselves. Mula told us, we should be talking of a mama wa maandazi, not about ourselves. So I was expecting that we have to address, yes, the issues that we are addressing here, but yet to go down to the society and be part of the problems that we are living around, actually. And concerning those messages, I made a research which I haven't published actually. If you look at them all, I collected about 75 of them. Zote zina punctuation error. Sikuona hata moja ambayo haina punctuation error. Utakuta ameweka full stop, haanzi na capital baadaye, kaweka koma ambapo haitaki. Neno hiyo, anapenda sana kusema iyo. Neno hela, atasema ela. And so forth and so forth. Those are, but I was thinking that an AI app could be very easy to identify such things and make it some kind of a research so that we could help people. But even awareness, how are you going to build this awareness if you don't go with a partial solution? Actually, when you go with a partial solution, you help people inoculate themselves from the virus. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I think that's a really good challenge that imechukuliwa bila kupingwa. And I would say kwamba, I think the challenge lies in the fact that we don't have a single solution. What we need to identify is different actors who needs to be part of the solution. So thank you very much for pointing that out, and tumeipokea. Ninaomba, there are no questions so far. There were comments, which is a really good. Oh, there is another question. There is another hand there. Oh, okay. So if there is any question, I believe kwamba tunafunga, unless otherwise kuna mtu who has a very burning questions. Kwenye upande wa maswali, we are done, and we're going back to the speakers. Please give a reflection, a 1-minute reflection on what has been shared from the floor, and then we can wind up to the question, how does 2050 look like for a woman who is in technology, regardless of the specialties, with AI, cybersecurity, data governance, ya karibuni sana. And tuanze hapo Fatma, then tutamalizia huko.
So I think maybe I have to respond to one of the audience that asked a question. And I think you asked about how the laws are in the regulatory space in Tanzania with, yes. So I would actually say we do have good laws. I think the challenge comes in enforcing and implementing these laws. So even recently, there's been a lot of amendment in the Cybersecurity Act, in the online content. So a lot has been going on, but I think we struggle with the implementation and enforcement. So I think, for instance, you spoke about defamation, someone defaming you, and it's very difficult maybe to trace this person. So I think when we are in the cyberspace, anonymity is one of the challenges that most enforcers struggle with on catching cyber criminal. It's not just maybe a local problem in Tanzania, but even in other jurisdictions. So that's one of the challenges with the cyberspace, that a criminal could, maybe it might be difficult for the law enforcers to detect, or even for yourself to actually know them. But I think most of the time, in situation whereby you know the person, you actually have cyber defamation. We actually have cases in the court on cyber defamation that the court have actually given judgment and hold people accountable. So if you're ever defamed, if you ever face any online harm, make sure you take action to prosecute. I think the other part of the question was with regard to challenge on platform, I think like Meta and the like Google. So I understand that most of these platforms are probably located in jurisdiction outside ours, and this is a challenge maybe in regulatory compliance or enforcement. But I think there are certain various initiatives whereby this platform actually normally also provide like a leeway for people to reach out and actually request. So if it's Meta, they have reporting mechanism. If you are able to also reach out to the law enforcement here, in case you're experiencing any breach, they can also assist, but also reporting in does matter in this like Instagram platform, Twitter. Make sure you report, make sure you follow up, and ensure that your challenge is actually solved. So I think briefly, that's what I would...
Just break it down when you talk about Meta, so that people can relate. You are saying that the accounts have a cyber security component. Okay, so my platforms are Meta, that is academic. So please break it down.
Okay, so I think when we speak of platform and like Meta, I think we're speaking of Instagram, WhatsApp,
and Facebook.
Yes, so
perfect.
even
Asante sana. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that. Yeah, do we have anything we want to add? A reaction towards the audience, Dr. Ellen? You have one, so that we can wind up with our last question. Yes, please.
I think there was a question. I was asked about the low representation of women in cybersecurity. So maybe a month ago, there are many opportunities actually for women, as we can see. And as I speak now, I just got, I'm currently one of the recent fellows for the UNESCO Organization for Women in Developing Countries. And what I'll be working on is establishing a cybersecurity lab at the University of Dar es Salaam. And so for me, I feel like this will be an open space for all women. And one of our things that we wrote is to actually take cybersecurity out there in the community. Actually, our students who will be now, who will have already been trained, they will go out there and raise awareness to other fellow youth, but then also to other stakeholders. So that is one way I see as a means to trigger passion, and I see that really being very fruitful. And one of the other objectives will be to come up with cybersecurity tools which are open source for vulnerability assessment. Like as Professor has said, that why can't we have apps that can help us? It comes to issues of data, it comes to issue of everything, modeling and everything. So that is the lab that we want to be able to just develop this free for the community, to democratize this, to be able, you don't have to pay so much money for you to just to know, am I safe as a company, a small scale company? Am I safe as an individual? So as women, I feel like that will be kind of triggering. But the other way is just to be a role model, really, to the women, to be able to see that. I feel like the fear with women is there's so many things to me, attached to me. I have to be a mother. I have to do this. I have to. Will I really be able to do this? Will I really do ethical hacking? Will I do? But you can stand as a role model. For example, I do a lot of community outreach services. I do consultancy work. I do research. I teach. But at the same time, I am a mother of 4. At the same time, I'm a wife. So it can be done. So to just be as a role model and to say that you can do it, whether it is to my students, whether it's to the public as I stand here, is to encourage you that, as she said, it's not that hard. Maybe you just need to be shown the way, the light, and you can do it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Helen. So ladies, please, how do we ensure a future, a secure future for women, young girls? 2050 vision. I want your contributions. I say 2, a minimum of 2 and maximum of 3. Eh? Just mention in brief so that we wind up. You can start, Badria.
Oh.
Yeah.
So first is awareness. I see the ladies out there, and I know we can all do it. I don't want to say you can do it. We can all do it. I'm still a work in progress. In part of that, we have bi-weekly awareness we give out as ISOLs. So whoever wants to join in can join in and get to know how cyberfield is. The second thing is be competent. So you are given, you have to work on it. You have to make sure you're competent enough. You have to be consistent enough to actually be out there. So I see the ladies there, yeah.
So nataka ku rephrase question. I might have not done a very good job at that. As a nation, we have to have a vision to step forward, and we have to have vision in different aspects. So I would really like I think this is very important, like ilo ni swali langu mwenye nalitaka sana. 2050, how does 2050 look for you kwa mwanamke who wants to be in technology? A woman who is in technology, how does 2050 look for you? Because you've just responded, you'll be the last to respond. I'm giving that to Dr. Ellen, it will be Doris, Fatma, then you'll be the last. Briefly, straight to the point. Karibu.
Yeah. The woman has so much fear right now, and as you saw what DG was presenting in his keynote, he said they feel they are left behind and everything. So in 2025, in our vision, I see the woman with less fear, whether it is in ICT, whether it is in law. I see them embracing and being a bit more confident with ICT and using it, whether it is to access means to win off their baby, or whether it is to access technical expertise. So I see the woman in the, I can say in the front seat, but in the boardroom. I see her there. I really do. There's a lot of efforts that we are doing. I see more PhDs in cybersecurity. I see more PhDs in AI. I see startups. I see companies for these women. But to just go back, we have this vision. This will all depend on how we implement our vision and factor in the woman diverse requirements, because the woman is very unique. Right now, we talk about this. We sit here, we talk about, I've had students, I have a student who was overwhelmed because she had 2 children across her PhD supervision, and she had to present her work, and she wanted to prove a point, and she's one of the tech leaders in this country. So it was overwhelming. So to understand her and to pull her and tell her you can do it, take it easy on yourself. It's okay, you're not losing anything. Have that baby, it's fine. You can now pick it up. You can continue. Then she's like, I'll be left behind. I'll find everything. Opportunities will be gone. So will our vision consider all this? If yes, the woman will be very much there.
That's really, really a really nice note. Thank you very much, Dr. Ellen. Karibu, Doris.
Asante. 2050, 26 years from now. Currently, our population is at 68.5 million. You can Google that. And our median age is below that of Africa. Africa is 19 years, and for Tanzania, it's 17 point something years. That means half of the population is youth. We agree on that. So in 26 years, we'll be talking about a person who was born even today. At 26 years, they'll have a purchasing power. They'll be able to use different products, buy different products. In 2050, we estimated that will be 141 million in Tanzania, an increment of over 70 million people. What will be happening in the country?
For women in politics?
Not just women. When we talk of women, Women take care of a community. Women have a motherly nature. What will they be taking care of? When you talk of a woman, you think of a child, her husband, her mother, a friend, the company they take care of. That's the power of a woman. You consider all aspects in the game. Now, with over 72 million people increased, nothing will ever change on this, that people will need to eat. People will need to wear clothes, more consumption of devices, more access, need for access to technology, access to financing, access to digital support, community support. There's a lot of things that will never change. Despite that, technology will keep on evolving. So what I envision in 2050 is to include youth, women, gender-based design. When we're designing products and solutions, they should be gender-specific, gender-targeted, because these women will be taking care of raising this youth. Whoever will come up with a solution will be under the women, will be protected by the women, taken care of and cared for, inspired by women. So we have to look at what will inspire women to take on this digital tech environment. I want my kids to go to good schools. I want my kids to wear good clothes, have access to good education or something like that. So that will keep them passionate to design solutions that will give them more time to stay at home, will give them passive income, will also ensure that in case of any calamities, they will not be shaken that much financially. How can they tap into the digital economy at home level, at personal level, to ensure their vision that my family is taken care of. I'm able to provide for my kids. I'm able to go on vacation whenever I want. I can take care of the house. And when a woman is financially independent, and a sane woman, yes, a sane woman will be respectful to their husband.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Doris, ukachagua ufungie hapo. Okay, well, thank you so much. Fatma, karibu.
Thank you. So I think much similarly to what has been said, to me I envision a society whereby women are able to understand the technology, they're able to capitalize, they're able to use it, because I think digital transformation is bringing in a lot of convenience, a lot of changes, and as women we can benefit a lot from it. So I envision a society whereby even women in the remote area is able to actually take and use technology in a manner that makes their life easier. I also envision a society whereby women have more skills. We have more women leaders in the technology space. We have bridged the gender digital divide. It's not a conversation by then, we are done by it. Yeah. We are actually able to have women, and they are able to use and actually benefit from the technology, because I think at the end of the day, it's about making sure that our society, people are referring to the women that is selling in the street, is actually be able to benefit and tell us the benefit of technology, not just us, the expert, not just the people building the technology, but for the society to be able to tell and to experience the importance and transformation of technology.
Thank you. I'm really happy. And Badria, you're ready? You can add again?
Yeah.
Please, yeah.
So initially I was just talking about how to work around the vision, but the vision that I have for a woman is being here without having women in ICT.
Okay.
And like, we don't have to be promoted to actually come. Okay. You come without being asked. Another vision is having platforms that have women's safety, something that would talk about women on behalf of them, something that would control anything that would go against their safety. So yeah, just.
Thank you very much. Hongereni sana, na kabla hawajapigia makofi, for the benefit yaliyoongelewa ni mengi sana. Ninaomba nitoke nje ya script, Tumaini. Walioongelewa ni mengi kwa manufaa ya wale ambao walikuwa hapa na kuna baadhi ya vitu viliwapita. Ninaomba nirudie tu zile hoja chache, ni mengi ya msingi yaliongelewa, yale ambayo sitataja sio kwamba hayakuwa na ubora. Mada yetu hapa ya wataalamu hao waliokuwa hapa, kwanza imezungumziwa swala la mifumo ya usalama katika mashirika, mifumo ya usalama katika kazi zetu, imesisitiza hivyo na hayo ndio wameongelea. Swala la pili ni wamesisitiza usalama wa bila watu wenyewe, bila kwa kuzingatia mifumo bila watu wenyewe inakuwa sio usalama bure. Kwa hiyo wamesisitiza kila mmoja aliyopo hapa ahakikishe yupo salama. Swala la tatu wameongelea ni kwamba mbinu za kutumia, ni muhimu kujifunza kwamba mbinu za kutumia ziko nyingi huko kwenye mitandao ya kijamii ile ya kujifunza, sio mitandao ya kijamii ya kufuatilia tu social media. Kwa hiyo wamesisitiza hilo swala. Pia wametaja kwamba kuna mambo mengi yanaendelea haswa katika serikali na mamlaka husika kama TCRA. Imetajwa kwamba sheria za cybercrime na sheria nyingine ambazo zinahusiana na masuala ya cybercrime zimeboreshwa, yani online content regulation. Wamezungumzia kwamba TCRA mwezi wote huu wamesisitiza kwamba fuatilieni pages za TCRA. Mwezi wote huu wanatoa elimu juu ya wewe kujilinda katika mitandao ya kijamii. Wamesisitiza pia kwamba wanawake, tusisitize wanawake, kuwepo wanawake, kwamba tunapozungumzia hapo baadaye masuala ya wanawake katika tehama iwe tu kwamba ni sehemu, sio lazima tupromote ili wanawake kuweza kushiriki. Wamezungumza sana nafasi ya usalama wa kutoa taarifa kwenye namba za simu, lilikuwa limeibuliwa hapa kama swali kwamba hoja ya kwamba taarifa za watu hazijahifadhiwa na watu wanatumia sana kutapeli, ni moja ya hoja ambayo ilikuwa imezungumziwa kwa upana na imekubalika kwamba kunatakiwa mazungumzo zaidi, na imezungumziwa kuwa na nyenzo za usalama na pia zinazotumia akili mnembe katika kulinda watumiaji katika mitandao ya kijamii. Nimeona nitaje hayo machache, lakini ni mengi yaliyoongelewa. Kumradhi tena kwa wale ambao hawakupata yote, lakini naomba nitoe shukrani za dhati to my speakers. Thank you very much, you were wonderful, I've learned a lot, and the audience as well. Asante sana.
Thank you so much, ladies. A special thank you to our moderator, Madam Asha Binala. I think you've summed up very well at the end with the Swahili. For those who could not really understand well, obviously our conference is in English, but obviously we'll take out your recommendation and the insights, and obviously the ICT Commission will work on to ensure that obviously we have a participant, everyone can participate at their comfortable language. Obviously, the moderator and the panelists, we really thank you for the conversation that ensure we are engaging, we're having engaging dialogue. Obviously, before we break for lunch, I have some couple of announcements for all participants. I think I'll start with Swahili. Obviously, chakula kitakuwa served pale juu tulipokunywa chai asubuhi Kilimanjaro, kwa delegate wote wale